Once again, I ask, where is God in this chapter? Not as if to say, where is God? Why did he forsake them? No, they forsook God. Where was their response to God? And it came to pass in those days, when there was no king in Israel, that there was a certain Levite sojourning on the side of Mount Ephraim, who took to him a concubine out of Bethlehemjudah. Now this is interesting, because it talks about a certain Levite. Mentioned a Levite in the last chapter. I'm wondering, is this the same guy? I'm sure that question's been asked before. Apparently it doesn't matter. God didn't give the name of the first guy. But it's interesting, it was a Levite. And his concubine played the whore against him, and went away from him into his father's house in to Bethlehemjudah. And there were 4 whole months, and was there 4 whole months. By the way, don't let the notion of this guy and whether or not he's the Levite, the same guy, be a distraction. You know, so many folks wander off on rabbit trails and search things out and then presume things and all the rest. And, you know, unless God shows it to you, and he will if you ask, you know, then don't waste your time with it. Just, you know, it's something to ask the Lord, ponder, and the Lord can put things together for you, and just wait on him. Wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. And their husband arose and went after her to speak friendly unto her, and to bring her again, having his servant with him, and a couple of asses. And she brought him unto his father's house. And when the father of the damsel saw him, he rejoiced to meet him. And his father-in-law, the damsel's father, retained him. And he abode with him 3 days. So they did eat and drink and lodge there. And it came to pass on the 4th day, when they arose early in the morning, that he rose up to depart. And the damsel's father said unto his son-in-law, Comfort thine heart with a morsel of bread, and afterward go your way. And they sat down, and did eat and drink, both of them together. For the damsel's father had said unto the man, Be content, I pray thee, and tarry all night, and let thine heart be merry. When the man rose up to depart, his father-in-law urged him, therefore he lodged there again. He arose early on the morning on the 5th day to depart, and the damsel's father said, Comfort thine heart, I pray thee, and they tarried until afternoon. They did eat, both of them. And when the man rose up to depart, he and his concubine and his servant, his father-in-law, the damsel's father, said unto him, Behold, now the day draweth toward evening. I pray you tarry all night. Behold, the day groweth to an end. Lodge here, that thine heart may be merry, and tomorrow get you early on your way, and that thou mayest go home. But the man would not tarry that night. But he rose up and departed, and came over against Jebus, which is Jerusalem, and there were with him 2 asses saddled. His concubine also was with him. And when they were by Jebus, the day was far spent, and the servant said unto his master, Come, I pray thee, and let us turn in unto the city of the Jebusites, and lodge in it. And his master said unto him, We will not tarry aside hither into the city of a stranger, that is not of the children of Israel. We will pass over to Gibeah. And he said unto his servant, Come, and let us draw near one to one of these places to lodge all night, in Gibeah or in Ramah. They passed on and went their way, and the sun went down upon them when they were by Gibeah, which belongeth to Benjamin. I'm just going to add in here one thought that the Lord's made me aware of, and I'm sure he's given you thoughts too, and feel free to post them in the comment section below. We notice all the differences of what, has transpired here. You think about what, how things could have played out differently. Had this guy left in the first place, and after the 3 days, not been allowed to be coerced by the father-in-law to stick around longer, you wonder if what ended up transpiring here would have occurred had the guy just left. And then, then he gets into here and into, wanting to get into Gibeah, and then he's met up with this other one, and then he gave him an offer and said, Come, let us draw near to one of these places to lodge all night. And And so there's all these different options this guy has been presented with. And you could ask, on toward end, and even at the end it says, consider it, take advice, and speak your minds. But really the answer is simple. This guy would have been led by the Lord if he would have asked the Lord, guide me this day, and we see nothing of that. His way would have, ended up more than likely very different than what it does here. But once again, there's no looking toward, what God wanted. Because once again, the theme of this book, pretty much every man did that which was right in his own eyes. And they turned aside thither to go in and to lodge in Gibeah. And when he went in, he sat him down in the street of the city, for there was no man that took them into his house to lodging. And behold, there came an old man from his work out of the field at even, which was also of Mount Ephraim, and he sojourned in Gibeah, but the men of that place were Benjamites. And when he had lifted up his eyes, he saw a wayfaring man in the street of the city. And the old man said, whither goest thou, and whence comest thou? I'm wondering who this old man was, too, Is he somebody from the previous chapter? Doesn't matter. And he said unto him, we are passing from Bethlehemjudah towards the side of Mount Ephraim, and thence am I, and I went to Bethlehemjudah, but I am now going to the house of the Lord. And there is no man that receiveth me into his house, receiveth me to house. And yet there is both straw and provender for our asses, and there is bread and wine also for me, and for thy handmaid, and for the young man which is with thy servants. There is no want of anything. And the old man said, peace be with thee. Howsoever, let all thy wants lie upon me. Only lodge not in the street. So he brought him into his house, and gave provender unto the asses, and they washed their feet, and did eat and drink. Be better for this guy, once again, to put his wants and his needs into the hands of God. But he did not. Trusted the old guy. Now, as they were making their hearts merry, behold, the men of the city, certain sons of Belial, beset the house round about, and beat at the door, and spake to the master of the house, the old man, saying, bring forth the man that came into thine house, that we may know him. Just as it occurred in Sodom and Gomorrah, when the angels came to Lot. Also, this is an interesting phrase. Now, as they were making their hearts merry, behold, the men of the city, certain sons of Belial, beset the house round about. While they were making their hearts merry, the world continues on in sin, while we make our hearts merry and watch a video or a movie or, whatever in our homes while our neighbors are dying in their sins. And the man, the master of the house, went out unto them, and said unto them, nay, my brethren, nay, I pray you, do not so wickedly, seeing that this man is come into mine house. Do not this folly. Behold, here is my daughter, a maiden, and his concubine. My daughter. Is that just a turn of phrase there? What's it? Them I will bring out now, and humble ye them, and do with them what seemeth good unto you. But unto this man do not so vile a thing. But the men would not hearken to him. So the man took his concubine, and brought her forth unto them, and they knew her, and abused her all the night until the morning. And when the day began to spring, they let her go. Then came the woman in the dawning of the day, and fell down at the door of the man's house where her lord was, till it was light. And her lord rose up in the morning, and opened the doors of the house, and went out to go his way. And behold, the woman his concubine was fallen down at the door of the house, and her hands were upon the threshold. And he said unto her, up, and let us be going. But none answered. Then the man took her up upon an ass. And the man rose up, and gat him unto his place. And when he was come unto his house, he took a knife, and laid hold on his concubine, and divided her together with her bones into 12 pieces, and sent her into the coasts of Israel. And it was so, that all that saw it said, There was no such deed done nor seen from the day that the children of Israel came up out of the land of Egypt unto this day. Consider it. Take advice. And speak your minds.